What would you do if you woke up and just didn't have eyes?
Back in the days of old, when the dino survival subgenre was dominated by the OG dino game, the Isle, I can still fondly remember the nostalgia and memories of trying out the Isle legacy for the first time, learning to survive, grow, and flourish in the harsh wilderness. And it has been too long since I've revisited the game, so join me as I dip my toes back into the waters of the Isle, Evrima. And of course, I had to welcome this with a Deinosuchus playthrough because of the name. I would spend this Dino's life worrying about dehydration, starvation, and cannibals, but I would soon forget one other thing that would lead to an untimely demise. So stay tuned, let's begin. Right away, I noticed there was something distinctly wrong with this little gator. What's with the eyes there? I don't think that's... Yep, it's got no eyes. Anyway, I did my best to recreate my albino skin, which was probably not a good idea if I wanted to stay hidden and ambush prey. With my slightly disfigured albino dino complete,
I am George. Where are my eyes?
It was time to begin his journey. Go. And we're spawning in pitch black. I was reminded of how dark the nighttime was in this game. Thankfully there was night vision, but I could still only see a few feet ahead of me. I've forgotten how dark it gets in the Isle. I had to get accustomed to the game once again. Controls, mechanics, matchups, everything. I was determined to survive. Sometime later, curiosity compelled me to take an unnecessary risk. You know, I'm gonna crawl to land. I leave the safety of the river to explore land, where I could see better. This was a really poor decision as I was quite unfamiliar with the map. Is it water? I see water. Is that water? Wait, did I mess up? Is there nothing here? I knew there's a third-party map that people use, but I could not be bothered. And sure enough, I was soon lost in the dense jungles as I explored the world around me. I think I'm lost. Oh dear. Time is running out. Oh no, my water. After aimlessly running through the jungle, I spot a clearing in the distance. I was severely dehydrated at that point. I had to find water as soon as possible. While I was glad that I had found an open area with more visibility, I would also be more vulnerable to predators. And I'm sticking out way too much. Shouldn't have gone with the albino skin. As I ran the gauntlet, I spotted a pack of omniraptors between me and the river. So they decided to rename it, it seemed. Anyway, I would either die of dehydration or predation. Either way, the harsh world was indifferent to this little gator. Would be unfortunate if I just get mauled by a dino here. Finally water. I finally reached safety. Right when I was taking damage. Yes? Yes! I shoved my little gator head into the water to drink as much as I could. Probably causing brain damage in the process. Anyway, I knew it would be unwise to stay out in the open for longer than I had to. Ah yes, Carnotaurus. I remember those horrifying sounds. As I familiarize myself with this river, I spot something peculiar. What is that? Is that a fish on land? Wait. Look at that. It's evolving. We're watching evolution in progress.
The arrival of the first vertebrate animals on land.
Wait, where'd it go? Fish on land. I tried to chase after the landfish to no avail. Where'd it go? Hello? Mr. Fishy? I'm sure Jeff Goldblum would be proud of this fish's feat.
Life,
finds a way.
Wait, is that another croc? It's tiny? Ooh. Oh my, oh my, oh my. At 30% growth, I was slowly getting more confident moving around, but I still had a lot of growing to do. I spotted a smaller Deinosuchus just ahead. While it was not a threat, I could not let it deplete the resources around my area. I needed every fish I could catch. And its incessant swimming could also attract bigger dinos.
Look, Mike can swim.
So I had to do something. I approached the gator, gave it a few bites, and it's off running onto land.
I'm fast as fuck, boy.
It seemed that younger gators were much faster and had more stamina than older ones. Good for them. As I grew, running through the undergrowth became more laborious. Oh, no, I think I'm too chunky to run out this way. So I decided to end the chase. A little bit later, I saw another fish trying to evolve. This time it has decided to conquer the skies as it ascended to the heavens. Also, why is there a flying fish there? Look at that. While I was distracted, I failed to notice another dino approaching. The owl's cramped waterways meant that the massive alligators were bound to bump into one another, and conflicts could easily break out amongst gators. Luckily, this one was just about my size and did not seem interested in fighting me. Still, it was quite nerve-wracking. I moved forward to give space to the visitor. I had to play it safe. As I did, I saw Carnotaurus cross the river.
Ooh,
I was able to grab it right before it reached the riverbank. Lucky for me, but not so lucky for this Carno. It was helpless as I dragged it down to the riverbed to drown. I was surprised I was able to hold on to it since I was still quite young at the time. In the isle, you are never too safe. Expect danger to come from every angle. I did not expect Carno to be there. I thought I heard a Utah, but it was a Carno. The Carno provided me with much needed nutrients. This would help me in accelerating my growth, allowing me to climb to the top of the food chain in no time. Well, a lot of time for me, but not for you because I'm editing this, so. I had finally grown into adulthood, a monstrous apex of the water. Fish would no longer sport my growing appetite for long. I had to move on to find a proper territory to hunt in and claim as my own. As I revealed myself on land, a small, curious pteranodon crash-landed in front of me. Oh look, it crash-landed. Perhaps it had a death wish. Perhaps it was tired of existing. But I could not be bothered with such a small meal. Carry on, little one. And I traveled on until sunrise. Ahead of me, I could see a small Deinosuchus resting. I just had to pop over and give it a scare, as is tradition. I moved closer unnoticed. It showed how easy it was to miss the danger just lurking below you. Had this been a hunt, this gator would be gone in that instant.
Hello there.
Frightening. I heard a deep rumble, and of course I had to investigate. Surely there was bigger game around, so I leave the small youngling be. As I crossed a narrow stretch of river, I picked up the scent of nutrients nearby. And sure enough, there were carnos around. 2 adults and a juvie. When they came down to drink, I moved in closer, careful not to disturb the water surface and create ripples, blowing my cover. But just as I did, I failed to notice something else nearby. Well, 3 of them. It seemed that I was not the only one interested in these carnos, as 2 adult dinos and a subadult passed by.
No thanks, I choose life.
Spooked, I quickly turned around. They were fixated on the carnos, but should their hunt fail, they could easily hunt me down instead, so I leave them be. The struggle of playing a solo Deinosuchus, I guess. As I lay hidden in a bush, I caught something moving in the corners of the screen. It was a lone Carno, going down for a drink. At first it seemed to hesitate, perhaps it saw my ripples. But it would make a grave mistake. As I dragged it down to the depths, I realized then how overpowered Dino can be. So far my preys have not been able to fight back in any way. There were no counters to this monster. It was a game of chance every time they came down to drink. For a moment I felt a sense of pity for these poor souls as I dragged its corpse on land to feast. I would not let it go to waste. I finished the bones, then slinked back into the river with a full stomach. Thank you for your sacrifice. With a full belly, I was able to focus on exploration, following the waterways wherever they led me. A little bit later, I reached the southern swamps. Not sure what I'll find here. Hopefully it's a good spot. Probably not. I'm guessing the river's the better spots for hunting. Oh, it's not a blockade. Compared to the cramped rivers, the waters here were considerably deeper.
It's so deep.
Perfect for a Deinosuchus. But before I pushed on, I had to make sure there were no other dinos close by. A vibe check? A vibration check? No? Nothing. One could never be too safe in these waters. I lurked about, waiting for any signs of player activity. But after a while, I realized I was alone here, with only my disturbing thoughts
You should have eaten that child.
and fish for company. I'm guessing this isn't a very popular spot. But at the very least, I got to see new sights. I witnessed once again the ascension of fish to the heavens in the distance. Evolution right there. When night fell, I decided to leave the quiet swamps. I was getting quite hungry once again. As I traveled, I heard the calls of Territorial. But they were nowhere near the riverbanks, so I heard something else. A juvidino and an adult passed by. It seemed that the noise also piqued their interest. Don't you dare. It seemed that playing Dino required tremendous patience and the ability to be at the right place at the right time. It's a bigger Dino. Every opportunity passes by for only a few brief moments for a Deinosuchus. As they passed by, I had my guard up, watching the adult closely. In a Dino fight, whoever bit first had the highest chance of winning. So they say. Luckily, I did not have to test it out as these were peaceful gators minding their own business. Further upriver, I heard the calls of Stegosaurus. I'm hearing a lot of calls, but I'm not seeing a lot of things. But anyway. And there we go. When I looked back, I saw an outline cross the river and my reflexes kicked in.
Well, shit.
I grabbed it but let it slip by accident.
That's what she said.
But in just a few bites, it was quickly over. I caught it. I caught a... What is this? A Sego? I didn't even notice it was swimming. I just saw an outline in the water. An adult Stegosaurus is a formidable foe in the Isle, as others have said. But the young ones make easy pickings, especially for a massive dino. Perhaps this one was looking for a herd, heeding the calls of the Stegosaurus to my left. I laid on the riverbed watching and waiting as the day passed by. But it seemed that this area was only popular for dinos, as I came across multiple pairs. Two big crows. There's like a lot of them here. Lots of bears around. Look, there's another. But so far I had not come across any cannibals yet. Maybe they just did not see me.
Where are my eyes?
Or maybe I was lucky. But I would not want to push my luck further. Although they may seem peaceful, I would still have to compete with them for food. So I decided to leave the area and find a less populated river to hunt in. I finally looked up a map. It told me I was close to a river intersection. Are you proud of me yet? I think I'm lost. Oh dear. And sure enough, a little cave passage with a waterfall led me out into another area. A little stroll on land and I was finally in the Northwest River. But before heading out to explore this body of water, I decided to inspect the waterfalls leading into the cave. We'll come back to that later. I was hungry once again, and it seemed there were no fish in the area.
There's no fish here?
I started to panic a little. I heard a call in the distance, so I quickly went to investigate.
That sounded close.
But after a while, it seemed whatever made the noise had moved on. As I've said before, opportunities for hunts are fleeting for a Deinosuchus.
I'm terribly hungry. Where is that?
Continuing on, I found the remains of a spine. It was too big to swallow, and it looked
big to
freshly
swallow?
killed.
What the
I
heck is this?
suspected this was the work of other dinos. Regardless, I ate the scraps to curb starvation. I needed to find real food soon.
Like I got something out of that.
A little while later, I
Probably
picked up the
dinos
vibrations
here.
of fish close by.
Oh,
I have never been happier
Fish.
to see AI once again.
fish! I've not seen you in a while. Yes, come on.
I could not say the same for the fish as it tried to swim for its life. Soon I was gorging on fish after fish. I was saved. With a full belly, I was able to travel farther upriver.
And we arrive at the falls.
My journey throughout was silent. There were no signs of prey nearby. And in the back of my mind, the central waterways would still be the ideal hunting ground for a dino. I was not keen on starving on the fringes of the map, only subsisting on fish. But I had to rest my thoughts as night fell. In the morning, I waited a little longer to see if anything comes by. Until I was sufficiently bored, so I decided to return to the central waterways. I reached the waterfalls with a cave passage once again. But I would make one last mistake. I decided to see if I could head back down through the falls. You could already probably see where this is going. You cannot head back down through the falls this way.
Really?
And that's how this Deinosuchus' story went. I spent this dino's life worrying about dehydration, starvation, and cannibals. But all along, I should have been more afraid of my own stupidity. Anyway, despite the anticlimactic and mildly funny ending, I had fun overall. The Isle experience was quite immersive, even though it was mostly uneventful. If you want to pay respects to this dino's life, death journey, consider leaving a comment and subscribing, and I shall see you in the next one.
I still have no eyes.
Bye bye.
I exist in pain.